So let's start with Ashwini. So what most people think is, Ashwini, for that matter, nakshatras are the Vimshotri devatas of the planet, or the Vimshotri rulers of the nakshatras. Like Ashwini is ruled by Ketu, and you have the Bharani ruled by the Venus, and then you have and go on. You can go on, like the Kritika is ruled by the Sun. This is what most people would think. No, the reality is Ashwini is ruled by Ketu only when the Vimshottari Dasha is being operated. You use a different Dasha, Ashwini is not ruled by Ketu. Okay, Ashwini is ruled by something else, whatever the Dasha denotes. So don't go by the logic that Ashwini is ruled by Ketu. No, Ashwini is not ruled by Ketu. Ashwini is actually ruled by Adhisthana Devata, we call it, or in simple terms, in English, we can call it deity. The deity for Ashwini is Ashwini Devatas. Okay, the Ashwini Devatas are one of those 33 gods of the ancient religion of Sanatana Dharma, wherein only 33 gods existed. Okay, most of the people who understand Puranic stories are knowledgeable about these 33 gods that the Hinduism or the ancient Hinduism had, and none of the gods that we pray to today have existed then, like the normal Shiva or the Vishnu or the Parvati, or none of these gods actually were gods then. There were only 33 gods, of which none of the gods that we pray to are actually available, or they are exactly the same forms. Yes, I would agree. Yes, Rudra was there, but Rudra is not worshipped today. We actually worship him in the form of Shiva. You might say, no, we perform Rudrabhishekam, so there is a Rudra. Okay, fine, agreed. One god is available. None of the gods that we have elsewhere in all of the 27 nakshatras, or the deities that we have for each of the nakshatra, none of them we pray to now. They are not gods anymore, or we do not acknowledge them as gods. Like Indra is one of the gods. I have not seen anyone praying to Indra exclusively, unless there is a yajna, or the fire ritual that is specially performed, not by the normal people, but for specific circumstances. Hardly anybody does. Maybe out of 1.4 billion population in India, in the past 100 years, I do not know how many yajnas were done. Okay, so Indra can be called upon only for a couple of mantras. You find them, but not worshipped at home as a deity anymore right now. We are not delving into the reasons why they are not God anymore, or into those things which are controversial. That's not the objective of the astrology. What I'm trying to teach you is, if you understand what Ashwini Devatas were, then we have a very good or a fair understanding of how the nakshatra would operate. That's the whole objective of teaching nakshatras and deities and things like that to you. So the Ashwini Kumaras or the Ashwini Devatas, both can be used. So Ashwini Kumaras were twins. Okay, the symbol of the nakshatra is twin horses, and also a swan. I mean, there used to be a bird which is extinct right now, is what people claim, that it's called as Hamsa, which existed long back. That could separate off milk and water, and it could drink the milk and leave the water in a pot when it is offered to it. When the milk and the water is mixed up, it can separate up milk and just drink the milk and leave the water in the cup. That's what it was renowned for. Such things do not exist right now, and most people claim right now that no such thing did not exist. I'm not going to delve into those topics which are controversial. However, assuming that they existed, okay, let's get into what Ashwini Kumaras did. And each nakshatra has a kind, okay, how it works. So this nakshatra is a Kshipra nakshatra or a Laghu nakshatra, meaning none of the results that come from the Ashwini nakshatra are very hard on the native. They're very soft on the native, 99% of the times, except of 1-2 conditions I'll give you. I'll walk through you when we're talking about them. And we have a nickname of each star. It's a star of transport. So Ashwini is a nakshatra which is used for, as the name goes, Ashwa means horse. That's in the Sanskrit. Ashwa means horse. So a horse, how would it live? If you can look at a horse and understand how would it live, that's what Ashwini Nakshatra's energy is. So any planet placed in the nakshatra of Ashwini, could be Moon, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, Ketu, Rahu, or anything, has to work based on the energy of Ashwini. So the nakshatra has to offer a few things. Those are very close to what horses would mean. Okay. So the nickname is Star of Transport because this nakshatra is very, very fast in working. So any planet placed in Ashwini Nakshatra has to work fast. Okay, that's the objective of it. So despite the fact that the Saturn is the slowest planet right now in the solar system, if it's placed in Ashwini, it is forced to deliver results faster. That's why Saturn gets debilitated in the nakshatra of Ashwini, Bharani, and Kritika, or rather the Mesha or the Aries sign acts as a debilitation sign to the Saturn, because the work has to be happening faster in these nakshatras, and they are restless nakshatras because horses do not sleep. Horses do not sleep or sleep for a very, very short while standing, most of the horses sleep. Okay. And the foundation above is creatures to be healed, and the foundation below is healing therapies. So Ashwini Kumaras or the Ashwini Devatas were twin gods who were the children of Sun. Okay. They were trying to heal a lot of people on the earth. Okay. How they were born, what their story is, and everything would come up in the next few minutes. So the Shakti or the power of this nakshatra is Shighra Vyapini Shakti. That means that spreads very faster, or that tries to achieve things very faster. So any planet in Ashwini would be looking at achieving something faster. Okay, the objective of the planet or the native that the native who has a planet in Ashwini would think, why there is a delay, it should be faster, why is it not happening? Okay, this can be the thing. Or he might think that even the thing is happening faster, he would still be not happy and keeps complaining that the things are not moving as fast as they should, because horse is the fastest animal. Okay, despite the fact that anything runs, horse would think, no, it is slow because I'm the faster, it should be even faster. Why should something be so slow? Okay. The final desire is world free of diseases. So no one should have diseases is what the Ashwini Kumaras were thinking when they were on the earth. They were riding horses. They were riding a horse, coming up to the people on the earth, and they were treating the people on the earth for various diseases that they have, and they're curing them. So they were performing acts like, surgeries, getting the vision of the people like cataract. Okay, they were also helping with the fractures of bones. They were also helping with anything that they are, any person is deceased, or having a ill health, they can fall back on Ashwini gods. They'll come and help them. That's how they used to be. So there are two stars in the Ashwini constellation. So what it would mean is, two stars would mean there is a multiplicity of things. Let's suppose uh, somebody has a fourth house signification in the Ashwini. I mean, what I would mean by fourth house signification is that the fourth house cusp, or the fourth house lord, or the fourth house dispositor that falls in Ashwini may have twin mothers. That can be, it can be so that he may have a stepmother, or he may have a mother-like person who he would treat as equal to his mother. So this can be two different variations. So similarly, somebody has a the 10th lord in the Ashwini. He may have two professions running at the same time. In the morning he would be doing something, and in the evening he could be doing something else. Okay, so this can be a probability. So you can use each of these significations, and without having to be bothered about where they are placed from the D1's lagna. So assuming, let's suppose you have a 10th lord placed in Ashwini Nakshatra, you can take this prediction and keep it and mix it with the cusp and the 10th lord dispositor to make the right prediction of, or the right mixture of, how his profession is, without reckoning any of the planetary position from the lagna. Okay, so you just reckon what the 7th lord is and the 7th cusp is, just using that lagna. Everything else just will be dependent or delivered from the nakshatra itself. That's how we use nakshatras here. So on the D1 part, when we talk about the Rasi chart, we would only look at the cusps of the houses and the lords of the houses and the dispositors of the houses. And the dispositors of the houses are the strongest. That means if you want to talk about the health of the individual or the overall theme of life of the individual, then you would just pick up the first house cusp, the first house lord, and the first house, the Lagna Lord's dispositor. So the Lagna Lord's dispositor is going to play a very big role. He would contribute for 60% to 70% of the result. Then comes is the cusp of the Lagna, and finally comes is the Lagna Lord placement. That's how we will say this is the overall theme of your life. In just, let's suppose somebody's life has to be explained in a couple of sentences. You can use this nakshatra theme of each of these three, as I said, the cusp, the lord, and the dispositor. Mix all of them up and give him no, somebody asked me, is there a chance that the fatherly can be a motherly figure in love and affection along with a wonderful mother? uh, I don't know. You have to look at the whole chart. So if it's just the fourth lord placed in it, maybe it's not affecting at all, because the fourth lord dispositor is elsewhere, which is completely altering the picture of the whole thing. So as I said, the fourth lord dispositor plays a very big role. Okay. So then we have, let's go to the stories of Ashwini. So Sanjana Devi, or the Sandhya Devi, is the wife of Sun. They were married. Sandhya Devi is the daughter of Vishwakarma. Okay, Vishwakarma lies uh, in the Chitta Nakshatra. When we come to Chitta Nakshatra or the Chitra Nakshatra, we'll talk about that. So Sandhya Devi is the daughter of Vishwakarma. Is married to Sun. However, even if you look at the Big Bang theory or the evolution theory, all the scientific fraternity has also agreed that when the Big Bang happened, there was a lot of heat, and the Earth was also very hot. And in the very initial stage, there was no life, and Earth was like a fire ball. So sun was so hot. So when the sun was very hot in the initial days, Sandhya Devi could not manage the heat of sun, and that's why she had to leave her clone. She made a clone. Sandhya Devi made a clone of herself, installed the clone at sun's place, and left into hiding. The clone's name is called Chaya Devi. Okay, and the Chaya Devi and Sun have got a son. That's the first child of Sun. His name is Saturn. The planet Saturn is the first planet that formed, and then that's the reason when Sun was expelling planets out of it, because when the Big Bang happened, there used to be only one thing as a big sphere. Out from the sphere formed all the planets and the Sun. So the first planet to be expelled out of that big sphere is Saturn, and it is pushed far away from all the planets. And this Saturn is the last planet that you would see in the galaxy. They have named a few planets in the past 2-3 decades, but then they have called them as dwarf planets. So none of them are planets anymore. So we can call Saturn the last planet. Okay, and graha would not mean planet in English. So loosely you can say it's a planet, because graha is different thing, because we reckon even the sun and the moon as grahas, whereas by planetary definition of the scientific terms, sun and moon are not planets. The sun is a star and moon is a satellite of the earth. However, we would still call it as a planet here in astrology for convenience, nothing else. And we are reckoning the planets from the heliocentric position, so that earth is stationary and sun is revolving around it. So it's nothing wrong when you stand upon earth and try to visualize things, you would see that the sun is moving. So there's nothing wrong. It does not mean that the sun is really moving. That our ancients have also agreed. So that's why we call the place from where the sun rises up, it's called as the Udaya Achalam. Udaya is, that is the rising. Achalam is immovable. I mean, the sun is not moving, but we are moving. That's what the term would mean. So Udaya Achalam and Asta Achalam. That means that those things are not moving, but in fact we are moving, is what the term would be translated when we profoundly understand what would that mean. So coming back to his story, Chaya and Sun have got a son. He's called as Saturn. And why these Puranic stories have actually existed is that it's not that they have existed as humans. They've had a son called Shani and things like that. When these stories were made, it's actually easy for humans to comprehend the thing, so that it's easier to understand. And when about 5,000 6,000 years ago, it's difficult for people to comprehend these things and understand how it actually would look like. So what they might have thought is that it's good to keep these as Puranic stories, so that people would learn it, and anyway they would use it for their benefit. So what we are trying to do is, the Puranic stories, we are using it for the benefit of astrology. That's what we are doing. So after a few days, Sun got to know that Chaya, okay, this lady who's actually residing with me is not the original Sanjana Devi. She is a Chaya. So this is a clone. How actually Sun got to know and stuff like that, we will deal that in Bharani, because that's a long story. Because there will be Yama in Yama Dharmaraja or Yama in Bharani, who has actually found out that Chaya is not the original lady. So that we will get to know shortly in Bharani. But let's move on to the fact that yes, Sun somehow got to know that Chaya, who is residing with him, is not his wife. So he went back to Vishwakarma, the original father of Sandhya Devi, and actually explained that Sandhya Devi has actually left me and went away. What should I do? So Vishwakarma, what he does is he cuts off the heat of sun, and when heat of sun is cut off, that's why sun actually debilitates in Libra. So Libra has the Chitra Nakshatra's third and fourth padas. That's where the Chitra, that's where the Libra would start, third pada. So, or the third quarter rather. Sun and Sandhya unite again. Chaya Devi again goes into temporary hiding. So Yama and Yami were also born to Sandhya. Then again, this lady starts to feel that there is a problem. with the heat. So she goes back once again in place of, so Chaya again comes back in place of Sandhya. Then sun actually understands, oh my God, what should I do now? So he goes back and understands that Sandhya Devi is on the earth in the form of a horse, a female horse. So what sun would do is sun comes back onto the earth and mates with this female horse, and this female horse and the male horse would give birth to twins. Those are Ashwini Kumaras, and the Ashwini Kumaras are born from the nostrils of the Sandhya Devi. Okay, I think I just said Yami and Yama are born to Sandhya, but there's a problem here. I think it was mistyped. There should be Chaya Devi. Yami and Yami are born to Chaya Devi. Oh, sorry. So Yami and Yama. Okay, sorry. Chaya Devi and son are the father and mother of Shani, and then yes, Yami and Yami are born to Sun and Sandhya Devi. Sorry for the confusion. This is right here. So the Ashwinis are born on the earth, despite the fact that they are born to Sun and Sandhya, who are gods. They could not get entry into heaven because they were born as mortals on the earth. So anybody who is born here on the earth are considered mortals, and they cannot get divinity, is a rule that's established by the Indra, the ruler of the heavens. Okay, you give him whatever name that you have in your thing, but in Hinduism or the Sanatana Dharma, he's called as the Indra. Okay, and so these people, the Ashwini Kumaras, were being raised on the earth, and they have learned how to help people. So when they have learned how to help people, they have understood what medicine is. They were practicing, and giving a lot of herbs to the people who are in need of medical help. They were very fast. They were riding a horse, and they were very charming. Okay, and there is a story of Chavana, Sukhanya, and Dadichi and Ashwinis. Chavana Maharshi, most of the people must have heard. He is, Chavan Prash. Most of people must have heard from India that there's a Chavan Prash, which is good for health, is what people eat at the morning. So it's the same thing. Chavana is a Maharshi who was very good at herbs himself. Okay, and also Ashwini Kumaras gave him the herbs uh, based on the knowledge that they have. We'll talk about the same story. Sorry. So Ashwini Kumaras were actually trying to understand how they can raise up to the abode of the heaven by convincing Indra to offer them divinity so that they can go back to the heaven. When this was happening, they got to know that in the for them to ascend to heaven, they need the Amruta, which actually will help them to ascend to the heaven, because Amruta is the nectar that we call, which is the nectar of immortality, the Amruta. When the nectar is given to the Indra, he distributes this nectar among his all deities, which are already 32 by then, because the Ashwini Kumaras were last to join. So when Indra had to get the nectar, this guy, the Chavana Maharshi's son, called as Dadhichi Maharshi, used to make nectar out of his understanding and offer it to Indra, so that Indra will distribute this in the heaven. That's how the chain was. So the Chavana Maharshi is married to a woman called Sukanya. Chavana Maharshi is a very old man, and Sukanya was very young. So Ashwini's got to know that yes, the nectar of immortality is important for them to ascend to the heaven. They have thought, okay, let's handle Sukanya so that we get the nectar. Now they go to Sukanya and tell her, why not you come? Why not you join us and be a wife of us? Why do you live with a old man called Chavana Maharshi? So she says no, she cannot betray her husband. Instead, she would be happy if she can, get the youth of Chavana back, because I know you are doctors, is what Sukanya says. So the Ashwins would promise Sukanya that, okay, we'll get back the youth of Maharshi Chavana. However, will you get us the Somarasa, the Amruta, or the nectar of immortality for us, so that we can ascend to heaven, is the question. So Sukanya says, yes, I can give that to you, because Dadichi, my son, is the person who makes this nectar. So uh, the debate happens, and finally they agree this on the point that, okay, let not the Indra know, and we'll give this nectar to you, is what the Chavana Maharshi and the Dichi will come up to the Ashwinis and promise that, okay, you get me back my youth, we'll give you the nectar, without the knowledge of Indra. So as things progress, Chavana Maharshi would get back his youth. However, Indra gets to know the ordeal, and he comes in between and denies the entry of Ashwini Kumaras, because they were not born in the heaven, but they were born on earth. So they will struggle for a few years, and then Indra would give him permission, would give these Ashwini Kumaras permission to ascend to heaven with the nectar of immortality. That's the whole story of the Ashwini Kumaras. Okay, and we have the sloka called Ashwinor Ashvayujau Gramaha Parastat Sena Avastat. This is written in Telugu, and there is an English version available below. Ashwinor Ashvayujau Gramaha Parastat Sena Avastat. Actually, I thought of putting this even in the Devanagari, but then my Tamil friends and the Kannada friends would call me up and say, why not put this whole thing in Kannada and Malayalam as well, or Tamil as well. That would make the web page very long. So I have thought, okay, let me put one in Telugu and one in English. That would be a lot more convenient, so that everybody can read English, and whoever would know Telugu would read Telugu. That's more convenient. That's the only reason. Okay. Now, this mantra comes from Taittiriya Brahmana of Krishna Yajurveda. Okay, so there is a Nakshatra Kanda by name. It's available as PDFs across all the internet. So if you can, whatever language you would need, you can just type Taittiriya Brahmana, and you can get these slokas. It's not a great deal. If somebody is facing any difficulty, let me know. I have the extract. I can send you up. However, I am covering up all these mantras for each of the nakshatra in the website, so anybody can just go and read those mantras. So what happens with these mantras is, there is a hidden meaning inside the mantra, and also the theme of the mantra. And if there is a problem that happens due to this particular nakshatra, you can recite this mantra sitting at home. Okay, this is one remedy which you can make if you're interested in doing remedies of mantras. These remedies of mantras also will work very well, depending on the situation, on the placement of the planets. Okay, you will get to know how to perform remedies and stuff like that over time. Maybe after a year or so, I think we'll start with remedies. Not very early I'm going to start with remedies, because you need to understand a lot of things before the remedies are offered. So my request would be is to be a little patient, so that you would come up to the part of remedies as well. Because for offering a remedy, the diagnosis is the most important thing. So unless we know what disease is existing or prevailing, so that you can offer the medicine. I mean, the disease is like the problem that the person is having, and the medicine is like the remedy that you're going to give it to the person. So be a little patient. My request is that. So the mantra says Asvinor Asvayujau Gramaha Parastat Sena Avastat. So Asvinor, so there are two Ashwinis. So anything that happens here, there can be a duality. Okay, that's what the first word would mean. So Ashwinor, so there is a duality. So anything that's happening, there is either yes or no happening at the same time. So it seems like it's working, but no, it doesn't seem like it is working. Even that can be there if there is a singularity. Okay. So let's suppose somebody has a problem. Okay, it seems that yes, no, this problem is going to go off, is what would be the feeling. But no, at the last moment it would stop. No, the problem would still prevail. So it can even happen that. So there can be yes or no thing also simultaneously. Because the Ashwinis faced that, because they thought, okay, they can ascend to the heaven as soon as they have found out that okay, Dadichi is the man who can help us. But again, Indra denied them the entry into the heaven, so they had to wait once again. So this is a common theme in the nakshatra. So the persons can may have to wait for longer periods than what actually they might be anticipating, that no, I'll get through this pretty easily. But sometimes it actually delays things, because this is Ashwini. Okay, Ashvayujav, again sitting on two horses. So again there's a two thing. Grama, roam the village. Okay, they sit on the horses. They help the people of the village. Gramaha means the village. The Sena. So I have left out two words in this: Ashwinor, Ashvayujau, Gramaha, Parastat, Sena, Avastat. What I have left out is the Parastat and the Avastat. These two words I have left out because these are the common words that exist across all the 27 nakshatras. What I have loosely understood is Parastat, anything that is just before the Parastat word. In this case, Gramaha is the word that comes up before Parastat. So this happens at the age of around 40. If you talk it as a middle age, so it would mean the person is going to help all the people of his community or of his fraternity during the middle age, and that comes up after, just before the avastat, like the example is Sena. So this one would be active after he has crossed the middle age, and when he is about to enter the old age, or for the whole old age that he is going to live, he will be in the avastha of Sena, or the signification of Sena is what you can take up in this context. If you look at Ashwini, the people of Ashwini will have duality, okay, and they would be very attached to their village, and they will build up an army over time. Okay, that's what it would loosely translate to. So as Ashwayujav sitting on two horses, it can mean that there can be two things simultaneously happening also. And two horses would mean two horsepowers. That means fastly moving. Okay. One horsepower is let us suppose slow. Two horsepower is the fastest. Okay. So there can be multiple meanings for a single word. That's how the shlokas were written, or the mantras were written. I hope people are able to follow what I'm saying. So whoever are from the Telugu class might, already who have heard it in the Telugu might find it little easier. However, the first time if you're listening it in the English, then you might think, how are we going to connect these Puranic stories into the results of astrology? We'll come to it in about a few minutes. So the traits of this nakshatra as per astrology is, we will have last minute cancellation of deals. Let's suppose your 10th house is influenced by Ashwini. What I would mean by 10th house is, if your 10th lord's dispositor is in Ashwini, he is going to influence, Ashwini is going to influence hugely on your 10th. That means your job. So you may get a job, at the last moment your job is cancelled or it's denied. No, oh, sorry sir, final moment, we've given you the offer, but I'm actually taking back the offer. I'm sorry. That's what can happen to Ashwini. Okay, and this person can be very playful and mischievous. Okay, like let's suppose playing pranks on friends. First Lord Dispositor in Ashwini, first Lord in Ashwini, lot of pranks he would keep playing. So somebody answers, if he answers the call of his peer group, you would get to see this guy is playing a prank for sure. Immediately after starting the call or the conversation starts, he would start with a prank. Okay, that's the primary indication of how Ashwini works. So even if you see the person, how actively the Ashwini is working, you will get to know that. We'll have problems with boss, because Ashwini Ashwini Devatas or the Ashwini Kumaras were denied entry into the heaven by Indra, the boss. So these people are going to face issues with boss, okay, in professional life. So if you have to see professional life, then again you have to connect it with to the 10th house or to the 5th house, because the 5th house would involve promotions. So career ladder would be seen from the 5th house. So you have the 5th house or the 10th house significators connected to the Ashwini. Then you may feel that my boss is very troublesome. I have some issue with my boss. I don't know. He would not recognize me or my work. Okay, these problems can be there. There is an interest in Ayurveda. There's an interest in general medicine. These people are fond of herbal drinks. A lot of things on the surgery side. Lot of knowledge on the the curiosity or the anxiety to learn about medicine and stuff like that. If you have significations of Ashwini very active. Okay. Uh, the only drawback in this, or the only biggest trouble that can come from Ashwini is if your fourth lord gets connected, or the fourth lord dispositor rather gets connected to the Ashwini. Then you may have a stepmother on the negative side. On the bright side, you may say you have mother-like figures around you, just not your mother. They can be mother-like figures around you. That's the bright side of it. So Ashwini rules actually because these people are twins. So all the dual organs, like you have eyes. So our eyes are a pair of eyes. You have pair of ears. So anything that comes in pairs, pair of legs, pair of hands, anything that comes in pairs, Ashwini rules them. And in the Ashwini, marriage is neutral. I mean to say, if your seventh lord's dispositor falls in Ashwini, Ashwini can neither help the marriage nor destroy the marriage. Okay. So now you can say Ashwini is neutral about the marriage, and then you have to look for let's suppose the seventh lord dispositor is in Ashwini, it's neutral. Now you look for seventh lord cusp, and then you look for the seventh lord himself, the placement of nakshatras. So wherever these are, based on that and those significations, the marriage can be stable or the marriage can be bad. Okay, so it's quite neutral for Ashwini. It will not influence much on the marriage part. Okay. However, what is good about this nakshatra is there are no extreme results that might come up due to any problems of Ashwini, any planets that are troubling in Ashwini as well. Ashwini is not favorably working for the native. Even then, you will not expect great deal of problems with this nakshatra. However, the next nakshatra that comes up in the next episode of us is the Bharani. That's a very troublesome nakshatra. Anything happens in the nakshatra, any wrong happens, the deal of result will be very big. You will have to deal with a big problem when Bharani is around. And the other problem that you might face with the Ashwini Nakshatra is the blockage of fallopian tubes. Okay, because you would see Ashwini is actually the first nakshatra with respect to Aries. Okay, so what Ashwini would also represent is like the our birth it would represent. So if you take all the 27 nakshatras, you will get to see that each of the nakshatra would represent one part of our life. So Ashwini is actually the part of life of us wherein we come out of our father as sperm. So Ashwini rules the sperm, and when the sperm meets the ovum of our mother, there is a fertilization process that happens. So that's what the Ashwini would rule, and the next nakshatra called Bharani would rule the part of life when we are in the womb of the mother. So for us to be present in the womb of the mother, or to reach the womb of the mother, we come out as sperm, and then we react with the ovum, and the fertilization process has to start. So that's the heaven. So a person has to transcend to something. The sperm has to transcend into the womb. So for that, there is an obstruction. So that's the fallopian tube obstruction. You can get to see this from the Jyeshtha star. When I explain this in the Sarvatobhadra Chakra, I'll teach you that in a few days. That's the next level of it. Like the Jyeshtha is ruled by the Indra and Ashwini is ruled by the Ashwini Kumaras. So there is a constant Veda between these two nakshatras. So Sarvatobhadra Chakra, just for your information, is available here on the chakras if you go. And this is available only in Jagannatha Hora. So on the mobile softwares, the Sarvatobhadra Chakra is not available. As far as I know, if they are available, please use them. So I'm just clicking on this Ashwini. I'll just right click, highlight the Vedas, aspects and lattas on this star. Okay. You can see Rohini is obstructing, Purva Phalguni is obstructing, and Jyeshtha is obstructing. So all these, wherever in whichever horoscope you see, you will see these three stars will be obstructing, Ashwini. Rohini is called the Brahma. When we know about this star, I'll explain it to you in more detail. Rohini is the Brahma. Purva Phalguni is the Aryaman, which is like the father, the Pitris, or the world of Pitris. Okay, so he is called as the Aryaman. And Jyeshtha is Indra. So if a person is childless, okay, it means that the Brahma and the Indra and the Pitris are not happy, so that he is leaving you childless or the native childless. That's what the Sarvatobhadra Chakra mean. So Rohini is the Brahma. So Brahma is not interested in progressing the seed of yours for whatever reasons. Okay, I would not mean that you are a sinner or something just because you do not have children. It may be your own. It may be your own. Ordeal with the God in the previous life that I do not want children. Could be a deal with the God itself. Okay, when you were being sent here, you must have said, no, I would not need children because in the past life I have suffered mostly because of children. Keep me childless, I'll be the most happy. I'll be the most happiest person. Even that can happen. So do not think that a person does not have children would mean that he is a sinner. No. Then is the symbols. So each nakshatra has symbols. When we know about these symbols, you will understand that what are the characteristics or the significations of this nakshatra. So horses represent power, stamina, and speed. So horses do not sleep or sleep very, very less and very workaholic. So any planet in the Ashwini Nakshatra is going to work relentlessly, continuously, restlessly. Okay. They also eat more. Okay, but they have digestive issues. So Ashwini can also pose up a little bit of a digestive issues, provided you have to see the 5th house and the 8th house for digestive issues. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you have to identify a problem, okay, or a prosperity, both, okay, you would need at least, let's take the prosperity case. If somebody has to be prosperous, it has to be visible from the nakshatra and also from the yoga. So how the yogas are seen, as I told you. So if somebody has digestive issues because of Ashwini, it also should be appearing in on the 5th and the 8th houses, either the lords or the houses and stuff like that. So how would we get to see? We will eventually learn, like, for digestive problems, you need heat in the stomach. So heat is coming from Sun and the Mars. So the cold planets are the Saturn. So Saturn is the cold planet. It would not want digestion to happen faster. So it will slow down the digestion. So any connection to 5th house or 8th house, you have digestive issues for Saturn. Provided you also have the other combination. So you have digestive issues. It means that the Ashwini and this both have to be tandemly working. That's when you will have severe digestive issues, or it can be so that off and on you get some digestive troubles, or maybe in the late part of your life, you may have some digestive issues. So how would we know what is the timing? Then we have to do the timing based on the dashas and stuff like that. So I would never say that just by merely looking at one thing, do not give give a prediction. Never give a prediction just based on one particular combination. Okay, always look for confirmations from different angles. That's when that's when the whole stuff would work. Right. So male horses were like postmen, soldiers, doctors. These people were using horses. So Ashwini would mean anything that is fast. So any work that needs emergency services, like ambulance is there. Somebody is driving an ambulance. He has to have his Ashwini very strong or very influential. Otherwise, he would not respond very well. He wouldn't be, reaching the person who is in need of medical help very easily. He will have issues with traveling and stuff like that. Okay. And this swan or the Hamsa is actually a symbol of jnana, the fertility and the procreation. So as I said, the problems of fertility, fallopian tube blockages could also be seen from the Ashwini. These are the only two problems, either having step mothers and having fertility issues. These are the only two problems that we can see from Ashwini. Okay, so we can narrow down based on the nakshatra itself what problem it can pose with respect to each lord is what we will look at. Right. So we have some special degrees for the whole 30 degrees of the Rashi. We can have special degrees in Ashwini. Ashwini would be there between 0 degrees to 13 degree 20 minutes, the 4 padas of Ashwini, of which the 8th degree, Yogatara, is the 8th degree. So any planet in the 8th degree in Ashwini would actually be on the Yogatara. So it would not mean that it will give you only beneficial results. So any planet placed in any of these special degrees will give you more result is the only thing I can tell you. So never think any planet in exaltation. For example, exaltation of sun is at 10 degrees. Even if sun is in 10 degrees of deep exaltation, then also sun can give you negative results. Do not think exaltation is going to give you beneficial results. Debilitation is going to give you negative results. No, it is not like that. It can be either way. Actually, the exaltation, debilitation, swakshetra, own house placement, they are not going to help you in any way, or they are not going to spoil you in any way. Similarly, debilitation, 6th, 8th, 12th placements, especially in the D1, may not actually adversely affect you. Okay. Sometimes it is much more than that. If it is just the debilitation or the 6, 8, 12 placement, there will be more astrologers on this earth rather than people who are, going to astrologers. It's not that easy. Okay. I think I would encourage you to look at these 12 positions. For example, let me just give you one of these. Let me just deal with the first house and the 4th house. So what I have done here is how to use this. Comes in every nakshatra. It's a common paragraph that I have put on. So check the following in your horoscope. What are falling in this nakshatra? The dispositor of a house lord, the cusp of a house, the lord of a house. So that's the order. So any dispositor falls in a house, check for it. What houses, what house lords is it carrying? For example, let me just show you an example. Let's suppose you take Jupiter. Okay, Jupiter is in Kritika. You can see here Jupiter is in Kritika. Now Jupiter is the dispositor of Venus, Mercury, and Rahu, because Venus and Mercury and Rahu are the 3 planets in the Pisces. Okay, let's if somebody has North Indian chart, somebody needs a North Indian chart, then okay, I'm just going to give you North Indian chart. You can see in the 12th house, in the Meena or the Pisces, you have Rahu, Mercury, and Venus. So Jupiter becomes the dispositor of these three planets. Now, the Lagna being the Libra, Venus is the first and the eighth lord. So Jupiter is going to give you more significations of first and the eighth lord being the dispositor of Venus. Okay, Jupiter is going to give you. So Kritika is going to tell you about how your first and eighth houses are. Okay, that's the basic rule. So 60% of the result will come from there about the first house and the eighth house. The Kritika is going to give you. Next is Mercury happens to be the ninth and the 12th house. So 12th house, ninth house lord, and 12th house lord is Mercury. Even for the Mercury, Jupiter is the dispositor. So even for that, 60% of the say is going to come from Jupiter, because he is dispositing Mercury. He is the lord of the house where Mercury is placed. So 9th house and 12th house results also will be coming from the Jupiter, 60%. Then you will add up where the 9th house cusp is. Just in case you want to understand how 9th house is, you will look at where the 9th house cusp is and then decide. And then at last you will look at the 9th house lord. Okay, so it's not a straight deal wherein you just look at the 9th house lord. Let's suppose you want to see about 9th house lord, you go to Mercury, and Mercury is in Revati. No, it wouldn't work like that. For the 9th house, you have to see the 9th house's dispositor first, and then the cusp, and then finally the lord of the 9th house. That's how it works. Even if you have confusions about how to find out cusp and things like that, as we work and progress, you will get to know how to identify the cusp easily within a few steps. I'll teach you that as well. So just for understanding, for the first lord, if the first lord dispositor or first lord cusp or the first lord himself would fall in Ashwini, then these are some of the these are some of the significations that you will get from this nakshatra. A major success will be announced, but it will be delayed, or it will be cancelled in the last minute. No, you'll not receive it this year, sir. No, you'll receive it the next year. That's how it is. Okay, somebody will be announced for a national award, and at the last moment, some offline information will come. You're selected. Just the final sign is pending. So this final signing authority will come back and say, no, let's not select this person. You give it to somebody else. Okay, so this can happen, and the award would get delayed maybe for once or twice or thrice, and then it comes back to him, depending on how badly Ashwini is afflicted, or how badly the current running dasha is not in synchronization with the Ashwini thing. That's about the first house. I'm jumping into fourth house because we've got a very, very less time. So Ashwini's had stepmothers like Chaya Devi and Sanjana were the wives of Sun. Similarly, there can be stepmotherly thing available if the fourth house gets connected to Ashwini. However, sometimes it may not be visible. As I said, there can be mother-like figures for him as well. Okay. Even 10th is important. Same thing. This 10th also, the job or a promotion could be afflicted. Same thing, as I said, with some time, then the person gets through with the promotion or the job thing. Similar is with the fifth house as well. Okay, I think that's more or less with the basics of what Ashwini is. Once we get to, what I would encourage is go back home, read all the signification of all the 12 houses. However, just don't have a hard and fast rule saying that if something is in the first house, you will get only this. I would encourage you to have all these traits in mind so that you can use them interchangeably, like the traits that we have learned here and going through the lecture again and again, so that you get more insights and you can develop your own rules, or maybe read the Puranic content wherein what Ashwini Kumaras were doing and their life achievements or their life story. so that you can also develop your own rules and you can achieve much more. I've only given a gist of what Ashwini can do. Like, there can be a lot that you can actually draw down from each of the nakshatra. I would appreciate if anybody wants to share any feedback. Is the pace of the lecture is good? Because for the first time I'm trying to give a lecture in English. I'm not sure if most of the people could understand it or no. I do not know. So any feedback with respect to that, or any any suggestions that you would want to make, or any questions that you have, please feel free to ask. I'm just like one of you, trying to learn astrology and trying to teach whatever I know and whatever I have understood. This is in yeah, I would say, um, whatever best I can do, I'm doing. So anybody has any suggestions, you're welcome.
Yes, sir. Absolutely fine, sir. Excellent. So the pace is okay. The content, everything is fine, sir. We are extremely happy and you are following very well, sir.
Great. Great to hear that. Okay. So have you been hearing the Telugu classes as well? So is that the...
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was also part of Telugu, but no, now I'm more comfortable in English.
Oh, true. Oh, that's nice. That's nice to hear. Okay. Anybody else has any feedback? Or any question for that matter?
So your language is very awesome. Presentation is very good. We were able to follow it very well and all. The only thing is few of the words, I think, like the words like cusp, debilitate, like exaltation, debilitation and all. If it can be explained, it will be very nice, because it is the first class. Many of the new people may not be able to understand if it is.
Okay. Did you understand, or you
This
had...
I understand, sir. I understand. I have no problem and all. I have asked few of my sister and friends to join. I think they may not be able to understand.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. My humble request to you all is, these things like the common words that I use, cusp, or okay, cusp can be a little different word or a difficult word. I can explain it in the classes. It might take a little time for people to really make out what cusp is. So apart from that, on the exaltation, debilitation, just do a simple Google search. They're very well available, because I don't think very basics are part of this the class, because I don't think if they don't understand debilitation and exaltation, I would be happy actually. I would not teach them, because they're of no use. Okay, they are of no use, because I don't use them at all. No planet is in exaltation, no planet is in debilitation, no planet is in own house. Okay, at least own house I would use to an extent. So if you have somebody, if you have referred some people, please coach them. These are very simple concepts. It would take them practice actually more than to give them knowledge. Sorry, somebody is come up. Muralidhar Kocharla.
Yeah, absolutely true, sir. There is no point exactly. Debilitation, exaltation. I've been seeing my family horoscope. Absolutely, they make no sense, I tell you.
None of them, because the planet is an exaltation. It's for the planet. It's got nothing to do for the native or the person who is actually having it.
Very true, sir. Yeah.
But always learn the house lords. Okay, it's important to know the house lords. So please coach them. Also the exaltation and the debilitation, because we may use them when we use very specific cases to understand specific results, but not just give surface results of somebody's seventh lord is exalted, it has a very happy married life. No, I would completely oppose it. Any more questions, suggestions? I'm happy to answer. And anybody other than Telugu is here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm Tushar from Northern India, Delhi.
That's nice, Tushar ji. Okay. Did you find it difficult Tusharji?
No, Shrikantji, it was too good. And
Good.
I joined late because I was away. So I joined little late, but it was quite good. And the new thing which we came to know is how to connect the things with nakshatras. It's too good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Tushar has been my colleague. I think most of the people up here in the call, I do not know any of them. Most of the people, except for 1-2 personally. I and Tushar were working together for quite long. So I know Tushar personally. We share a lot of things in common. One is astrology. We've been using divisional charts for quite long after having influenced by Sanjay Rath ji. So now with the advent of understanding of nakshatras, what we have done is even from the D1 as well, you can have a fair understanding of what the results are, and then confirm it with the divisional charts. That's what we are learning, and divisional charts also will be eventually covered, and you will be astonished, Tusharji, with the kind of results that you will get with nakshatras. Believe me, most of the people who came into the class, they're already there in the Telugu side. They want to rehear what is being taught in English, despite the fact that I have already taught Ashwini about 3 weeks ago, so that they want to hear it once again.
No, I think Shrikantji, this is one of the best things because you do all the astrology without nakshatras. Actually, we never care about nakshatras, but the right results will always come from nakshatras only.
So I always keep saying these days that graha is something that जो ग्रहण करता है, जो लेता है, तो unless the nakshatra is very clear of what its duty is, you get the result just from the nakshatra. I don't use much of the planets these days. I am using more nakshatras on the D1 side.
Right.
Okay. Anybody else who's not from Telugu background?
Yes, Shrikant. This is Nagu.
Okay, good to hear.
So I think my dad, Satya Rao, he was in Telugu classes, but this is my first English class actually.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yep. And even though I know a little bit on the stories, but the way you related the stories to the predictions, that was really good, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it is very
I mean,
good.
by language on the mother tongue, you are a Telugu person, right? Aren't you?
Yeah. I am.
Okay.
Telugu. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Let's stop here. I would upload this lecture onto the YouTube. You can freely go through. It's going to be the same channel for both English and Telugu. Okay. The thumbnails will have just the English titles. It would mean that it's an English lecture. If the thumbnails have got Telugu words on the thumbnail, it's a Telugu lecture. That's how you can distinguish between both these things. Any more questions? I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll say goodbye for today. Excellent. Unless I'll wait for a couple of minutes unless anybody has questions. Good. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shrikant. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.